Hi, I'm Jeff Cohn, and I'm the host of the Village of Richton Park's Home Rule Initiative panel. This is an educational panel that the Village of Richton Park is providing to its residents and to the larger community to learn more about home rule. And I am delighted to have with me today 3 guests that are going to share valuable information about home rule and the facts around home rule. There's been a lot of information that has been sent to homes that does not necessarily share the facts, so we've invited a panel of 3 to share factual information. So I'm going to allow the panel to introduce themselves to you this evening before we get started. I am delighted to be here with you all this evening and just to share more educational information about home rule. And Trustee Coleman, I'm going to start with you. If you don't mind just sharing a little bit about yourself, how long you've lived in the Village of Richton Park, how long have you served as a trustee, and any other information that you'd like to share about your background.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Cohn.
You're welcome.
Brian Coleman, I've been in town since 1994. My wife and I selected Richton Park. We've been married 35 years. We live in the Lincoln Crossing subdivision. I've been a trustee since 2011. I've also served as the homeowner association president for the Lincoln Crossing subdivision. Okay. I have 2 young men that have enjoyed the scholastic program in the community, as well as the School District 162 and 227. So it has been great to be a participant here on the panel with my other very esteemed guests.
All right. Thank you so much, Trustee Coleman. And would you also introduce yourself, Mrs. Lacy?
Hi, yes. I'm Kris Lacy. I am a stay-at-home mom and wife of 3 beautiful children. Or not wife of 3 children, but wife and mom of 3 children. And I am also a commissioner here for the Village of Richton Park. I serve on the Human Relations Committee. And I am secretary of the HOA of the Lakewood community. So I've been here with my husband for about, I want to say it's been 6 years, but we've been homeowners for the last 2.5, 3 years, and it's been a true pleasure to be here. When my husband and I were looking for a home, you know, we weren't sure if we were going to stay, but having served here on the committee and seeing the initiatives and the efforts that have been made and getting to know the leaders is the reason that we decided to stay here. Beautiful. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm the CEO of the Renewed Life Wellness Company, where I serve as a community impact speaker and wellness advocate.
Nice.
And so, yeah, I'm just excited to be here and have this conversation.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Evans, last but not least.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Very excited to be here. My name is Daniel Evans. Live in the Farm Trace subdivision. My wife and I, Yvonne Evans, have been here probably 25 years. Raised our 2 boys who are grown, soon to be 26 and 27. Nice. So we appreciate the opportunity. We love our community, very active in the community. I'm an entrepreneur in the community as well. I own a computer consulting company, sit on some commissions here at the Village of Richton Park as well. So just very excited for the opportunity to talk about what we're going to talk about home rule today.
Good. That seems to be a common thread. I love living in the Village of Richton Park, and that seems to be something that's quite common. So we're going to dig right into this. And Trustee Coleman, you know, we're here today to explore the facts about home rule. So why don't you start by explaining what home rule is and what it is not?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Cohn. So here in your home, Richton Park, okay, so the state of Illinois has designated that a municipality or area that has 25,000 or more residents automatically receives their designation of home rule, providing additional powers and authority to that governing body. For those municipalities and other areas that don't have that many residents, the process requires a voter decision to empower that governing body to be able to lead with those tools. And the home rule level of tools are quite expansive when it comes to addressing things within the community, such as opportunities for improvement, ways to transfer and leverage revenue that's been provided and received, as well as addressing any nuisance areas. So there are capabilities that are definitely available at the home rule level of authority, and for those other communities, they are basically limited by the state of Illinois statutory regulations.
Okay, thank you. What does home rule mean to you from a resident perspective? For people looking at this who are trying to make a decision on whether they should support this or not, from an educational standpoint, what does it mean to you as residents, home rule mean to you from what you've learned? Start with you.
For me, what home rule, just coming out to some of the various meetings that we've had in the forums, it means that my local government will have some autonomy on how they utilize resources throughout my community. And those are some of the things that I'm super excited about, to learn how now the state doesn't necessarily have to dictate how those resources are allocated or how my local government spends those resources. I think I'll have more of a voice because I live in my community, so I can show up at my village's board meetings, and I know my people who sit on the board, and I can hold them accountable. So if there's anything that goes wrong, I could say, hey, I don't like that, or I can voice my concern. Whereas down in, how many times I'm gonna go down to Springfield, right? So I'm gonna show up, and I'm gonna be active, more active in my community than I'm already am, and I'm gonna hold my board accountable. So I believe they'll do the right thing. I've known them, and I'm very comfortable with what it means to me and what I've learned from coming out.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Evans. And what about you, Mrs. Lacy?
Yeah, absolutely. In the same vein, I see this as an opportunity for us to exercise our freedom to use this as an opportunity for us to grow. I've really learned to enjoy and appreciate so much of what's been happening, but I do understand that we are limited without home rule. And having done research on my own, which I think is extremely important, I understand how valuable it is that we get to choose how our funds are being spent. And I love the fact that we have brought in more businesses, but I know this is going to allow us to negotiate more contracts to be able to bring new businesses in. And also, I believe that our leaders are willing to empower our current businesses and kind of help them improve so that we can attract non-resident funds. So I'm really excited about the opportunity, and I think that for many of us, we are held up because of fear, and I think it's more important that we focus on the fact that we get to exercise our right to show up, as Mr. Evans mentioned, and be present and have a voice in how we get to address these issues.
So economic development, I hear, is like a undercurrent in terms of the tone also, right? In terms of this is going to allow the village of Richton Park to compete more with people, with other villages that have home rule, right?
Yes.
That's an important aspect as well. So when you talk about fear, I think someone said fear, there is fear, right? There's fear, uncertainty, and doubt as it relates to the power that people perceive, that additional powers. And one of the things is, Trustee Coleman, are you all planning to use home rule to increase taxes, home taxes, transfer taxes, and or sales taxes? And what will you say to the viewing audience as it relates to that question?
No.
Okay.
Our goal, and we've met, we have a very structured format for how we govern. We convene twice a month as a board. There's a regular session to the meeting, and there's a work session. And during the work session portion of that discussion, we have an opportunity to evaluate and review options for ordinances. We spent some pretty good conversation realizing that there's relief that home rule is intended to provide to our residents when it comes to the taxes. We've decided and approved ordinances, one in particular that will freeze the property tax rate for 5 years. The intent of that is really to reaffirm our commitment to take advantage of the tool that home rule will provide to us. There are a few other adjustments that we've made. We talk about vehicle stickers. And the seniors, we've always had an opportunity for seniors to have a free sticker. But we're pursuing, and we've ordinanced a free sticker for everybody.
Oh.
Okay, all vehicles.
Okay.
We've removed that. Water rates were another big conversation where we felt that we can provide relief to the community if empowered with the designation of home rule.
Right.
The state of Illinois at some point decided that there's a magic count called 25,000. Maturity really should be the gauge. And we're a area that has just about 13,000 residents. Okay. And if you look at 25 in the adult view and say, when I turn 25, I get to do all these things. Well, what if you're only 13, but you're mature enough? And in some cases, there are individuals that are much more mature than a 25-year-old that you would rather have making certain decisions.
Right.
And so the magic number of 25,000 or 25 years old does not, in and of itself, determine good governance.
Right.
We've had 28 years where we have not raised taxes, property taxes in our community. 28 years.
Wow.
Okay, I've been on the board since 2011, as I mentioned, and we have others that have been there even longer than me. Right. These are residents. Whatever we do to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Why would we do that to ourselves? We want to be better. We want to achieve premier. Our goal is becoming a premier community, and we believe that the home rule designation is important to that trajectory.
Good. I appreciate that, and I think that adds additional context. But listening to what Trustee Coleman, purely from the resident perspective, have all of your fears, uncertainty, and doubts as it relates to that transfer of additional power been brought to rest, if you will, in terms of what you've learned and what you heard from Trustee Coleman? I'd like for you to speak to residents as it relates to that, because people do have those concerns, and there is information that's been sent to their homes. We're going to address that momentarily. But have your fears, uncertainties, and doubts been put to rest?
Absolutely. And to be completely honest, while I didn't have as much information as I have now, I do have confidence in our leadership. Again, I've been serving in the community for a while, and I think that is important. So as a resident, I would behoove many of us to be present. If we would be present and we would get more involved, we would know our leadership and we would understand that the intent was good from the beginning. But with that being said, I have learned so much more, and I feel very good about where we are headed. I don't have any fears, but I'm not that person anyway. I am the person who is about moving forward and progress and empowering my people. And I think this is an opportunity for us to empower ourselves without worry for what Illinois has said, and with more focus on what our local government and the intentions of the people that are serving here are planning to do. And I'm excited for that, and I hope that others can find that same excitement.
Great, thank you. Mr. Evans, you feel the same way, or is it?
Absolutely. Okay. I'm comfortable with the decision. We talked about fear. I want to address it. I've heard the buzzword home rule for some years, even before Richton Park introduced it here, and it was sometimes associated with a negative connotation, right? And so it was like, no, no, no. And then to see the mailings that came from people who don't even live in our community. I remember standing in my kitchen as I was looking through this. I'm like, wait, what? What is this? And I was like, wow. And then to find out, like I said, it's from an outside group somewhere down in Springfield, but it just made no sense to me. But what really sealed the deal for me is when I heard my trustees and the village president, Rick Reinbold, speak about raising taxes and how all of this misinformation was out there. And they said, hey, look, guys, we live here, right? We talked about it. So it just made logical sense. Then I'm like, yeah, right. Why would they raise taxes on themselves? And a lot of them live in modest homes and within this community, just like I do. So that clicked, and I did my research, like what Kris said as well, to vet them to ensure that the pros and cons of it. And to me, there were way more pros than cons. And personally, being in the community for over 25 years, having engaged and being active in the community, I know each and every one of them personally, and I trust them. I have confidence in them, and I've said to them that if you do mismanage this power, then I will vote you out.
Right.
and that's what I should
simple,
do.
Right.
It's what I should
your power
do.
Right there.
That's my power.
Right,
so
right.
I'm comfortable with that.
Good.
But I know that they will do what they're supposed
All
to
right.
do, and they've been here a very long time, as Trustee
Okay.
Coleman said, some of them even longer than he has. So I'm good with my decision.
Good. And so there has been a lot of mis and disinformation sent, and the group was the Realtors PAC out of Springfield that has been flooding the homes, the mailboxes with this information. And Trustee Coleman, what response do you have to their campaign to thwart what the home rule campaign of your local community for people looking at this educationally? This group is out of Springfield. What educational information do you have for people who are receiving this information, and they will receive it up to the date of the vote? What would you share with them?
To be honest, I was not surprised exactly, but I was a little disappointed with the approach that they took, because we're quite active as a board in our community, and we talk to our residents. Mm-hmm. The statement that we've committed to raising taxes, as an example, mm-hmm. was such a blatant error, if not a flat-out lie. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a elected official, I struggle to call people liars.
Of course, you're a gentleman.
but when I read that paper, the first word that came to my mind was liar, liar. Oh my God! Thank you.
But you're not calling them a liar.
I'm not calling them a liar.
That's what came to your mind.
So I'm struggling with how do you even react or respond to that. The other challenge that I have is, our community is close. We have been extremely transparent. I mean, we've just recently won some very significant awards in our financial support model. We present our budget. We just completed, or we're in the process of completing, our 2025 budget with very open meetings every Monday for the community to come out and see. I really appreciate the comments of come out and participate, because what we need to make sure is that those residents that are uncertain of how we're managing hold us accountable, but come in here and participate.
Yes, sir.
It's very difficult to connect with individuals that don't want to be connected with, and they're living off of information that's not trusted source oriented.
Okay.
So we believe that we have a trusted source, and that is our commitments, our statements, and the official minutes of the meetings. And they will demonstrate the dialogue that we've had, and at no point have we ever committed to raising taxes as a result of achieving home rule.
Okay. So as we wrap up, thank you very much, Trustee Coleman, for addressing that. As we wrap up, I want to look 5 years into the future. Upon the successful passing of home rule, I'll go to the residents first. What do you see? How do you see the village of Richton Park? What's going to be different here from a manifestation standpoint? I'll go with you first, and then Trustee Coleman, I'll come to you last for the question.
Sure. What I see is an economic explosion, right? And that's what I'm envisioning. All sorts of new businesses, hotels, up and down I-57 corridor, okay, right off the Sauk Trail exit, okay, right? That means jobs. That means new revenue into the community. That means new programs for Parks and Recs and everything that we want to see in our community where we live. So I'm excited. That's what I see.
Beautiful. Good. Thank you. You said you like to look forward. Yeah. What's your forward look?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I envision the town center. I know that we are, working towards this new town center.
Okay.
And I look forward to a space because, again, I do have a family and I have small children. I look forward to being able to walk in the town center and experience the new trees and the sidewalks and the courtyard. I look forward to being able to be a patron to new businesses. I also look forward to, not that we are food desert by any means, but I look forward to, you know, new food options, healthier food options.
Sure.
I look forward to, you know, just opportunities to commune more. And I think that with some of the new funds and programming, we'll be able to build that community vibe, that feel, that connection. I just see something different happening because we will begin to take pride in where we live when we see something different. And sometimes for others who aren't as active, they need to see something, right, to get excited. And so I look forward to the others who haven't seen what we're seeing on the back end. I look forward to them being able to see that and take pride in their community in a new way. I'm really excited for this direction.
Good, good, good. Same question to you, Trustee.
First off, I see what they saw. Okay, let me accept their responses exactly the same way they presented them. But also I see the calm community coming home from work, going in the backyard, enjoying the space, okay, seeing new things happening, seeing improved roads, sidewalks that don't have the wedgies, okay, being able to move around on a bike, seeing the smiles of the, I just came from this. Watching the energy, and we have such a extreme level of positive energy in our community right now. The catalyst that we already had pushed us this far. We have an opportunity right now to introduce a second catalyst of improved change, and I'm just excited about the opportunity for home rule.
Good. Well, I thank you all very much for sharing your perspective, your educational perspective with the residents of the Village of Richton Park. I think I've learned from each of you all your unique ways of looking at this, and I am just prayerful for the Village of Richton Park that several other people look at this in the same, from the same perspective as you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I am Jeff Cohn. Thank you very much for being with us today on this educational panel. I have heard from residents that live here, but now it's your turn to do your job and do the same thing that they did in learning about home rule, so that you can come potentially to the same point that they've come to realize that how positive it can be for the Village of Richton Park. Thank you very much for being with us today. I'm Jeff Cohn.